Remarkable. Just touch on Joe Paul. It's been coming. If you look at his progress over the past couple of years, it's been coming. And he's, for me, I was, back in the day, I was just hoping and praying that he found that perfect sprint event for him. We know with the 100, because he's a bit slow off the blocks and it takes time for him to build his speed, the 200 was a perfect distance for him. And he just needed to master it. And if you look at the times he was clocking, both in the heats and then the semi-finals, you could tell he was clearly going into the finals as favorites. But he needed to do his part, and that is run his best. And he was brilliant on the day. There was very close competition from the Nigerian and then the Cameroonian, but he held his own and was able to see it through. And I'm so delighted he was able to do it, because if you followed his progress, it's been basically near misses for him over the past couple of years. If you even go back to the relays, another near miss again, and it was almost like it was going to be deja vu again if he wasn't able to clinch this 200-meter gold. So I was so delighted he was able to do so. Rosie, I don't think most of us are too surprised that she won gold, but Cadman's win was, look, it was adrenaline pumping. It was such a joy to watch, and I could sort of, in fact, I can relate. I did high jump in
You did?
School. I was actually
What's your personal record?
Relax. I was actually champion. I was actually ski champion. I was also champion in Tako. And, look, when he talks about, and Guy did a one-on-one with him, and for me that was the best post-interview that Cadman did, where he basically spoke about the support he had from his... Vandals?
Yeah,
from the Vandals. Yeah, he mentioned that...
The guys in the red stance.
That once they were there, he knew he was going to win. Look, adrenaline, especially in high jump, is such an important factor. And for him, once he got that rhythm, the first few jumps, getting it on his first attempts, the greens were flowing, and then the crowd behind you, it reaches a point where there's no height that you can't surmount. And for me, I was also extremely delighted, and of course, for him to kill it off with the Sioux, it shows that when your idol is Cristiano, you know that back against the wall. No, seriously, back against the wall moments, you will deliver. And look, it's you circle it back to the beginning of the competition, where we were very worried about Team Ghana's showing at this Africa Games. The fact that we were hosting was an extremely slow start. First week we had just 3 medals and. No, 4 medals. 1 was from swimming, and then 3 were from weightlifting. And it didn't look like, we didn't even think we'd reach 10. That was how poor it was. Yeah. And all of a sudden, we are finishing the competition.
You thought the maximum was 20.
20. Yeah. And then on the last day, we produced 8 gold medals alone. And of course, when you look at the crowd that came to the Legon Stadium, we had to give them a show. The athletes had to give them a show. And credit to the athletes. They gave their best when it mattered most. If you look at Joe Paul's run, if you look at Cadman, nobody expected Cadman to win gold, aside Rosie, who was favourite. Joe Paul, yes, he was doing well, but he had some close competition. But they showed up, and that's the most important thing. They showed up in front of the home fans, and they gave us a show and won the gold.
Sitso, I mean, impressive stuff, to be honest. Not just even from the athlete, and Daniel just summed it up perfectly. The crowd at the University of Ghana Stadium for all 5 days. You were there, you had a show there every afternoon, every evening. The atmosphere was ridiculous. It's credit to the Ghanaian people and the athletes. It was almost the perfect marriage. Yeah. Like, perfect atmosphere, deserved a perfect performance from some of these athletes. And Cardman and Cardman, the Rose and Joe Paul, it was almost perfect.
Yeah, it wasn't just about the athletes. It was about the crowd. It was about the commentator. I mean, you did an incredible job as well. So those who have been watching at home would have enjoyed the way you described it. But listen, that for me, again, threw up some questions for me. And I praise this athletes because of their mentality. Because it's not that simple. That when the atmosphere is as charged as it was in the University of Ghana Stadium, you are going to perform. It's not automatic. You can drown under that pressure. When the whole weight of expectation, because most of these athletes have had to make their names in Ghana by competing away from Ghana, away from the pressure, away from the spotlight. So for them to turn up in Ghana and live up to it, under the expectation, under the pressure, it is credit to them and their mentality and the way they use the crowd. And that's one thing. I've seen athletes who, when they face the crowd, even though the crowd is on their side, they are unable to use the crowd to generate a certain level of energy. Joseph Polamwa did that. Cadman immensely. He actually worked it.
Yeah.
To the extent that...
Fed off it was almost like opium.
Yeah. To the extent that...
Give me more.
When his opponents wanted a bit of calmness to concentrate and go with the usual clap of, you know...
Mpo, Benjamin Links from South Africa.
Yes.
Wasn't getting the rhythm.
The Jama boys would disrupt that. And at some point, I thought it was deliberate from the boys. Mm-hmm. I remember there was a point where Cadman himself went to the boys and told them, no, give him the clap. They did it once and said, no. If we do it and it's going to jump, then he's not going to jump. So they knew how to, some of them knew how to turn the crowd to their side and use that as a fuel for them to perform. And yes, it matched it. The crowd was great. Athletes were great. And like I said, the commentator was great.
Finn, just a quick one. I said this on the show 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Just to show, highlight the fact that, you see, we always think that, yes, of course, we have our strong areas when it comes to sports in the country, but interest is generated by performances.
Yes.
And consistency in performances. How many of us knew that Ghanaians were that interested in high jump?
There you go.
But if you see the concentration on the day, on Friday, it was almost, in fact, I got there quite early. As at the time, the 200-meter finals, both the men and women, more people were concentrating on the high jump final than what was going on the track. And you hardly see that at major competitions. And that is because the three Ghanaians at the time were giving the fans exactly what they wanted because they were performing. So my point is, look, discover the talent. It doesn't matter the sport that is in. Once you're able to get that consistency in terms of performances, people will rally behind them. You'll get the support.
And it's not about slogans.
Yeah, and you saw it with swimming, you saw it with Azamati.
The Africa Games was a clear example. When you look at the crowd at the Boteman Sports Complex for volleyball, for handball. The handball final was epic. The women's handball final was epic, and people were there wrestling. So again, once you are winning, once you show signs of competitiveness, people are going to come. They just want to see the country win.